Welcome back to Boys and Ghouls Film Review, folks. I'm your host, Sarah Stephenson, and it's my co-host, Mike Stephenson.
Hi, guys.
So tonight we are doing a family-friendly Halloween movie.
Yeah, we thought the kids have been missing out, and being Halloween, it says...
So far we've already reviewed a lot of ones that deal with the gory part to Halloween, but now we have to think about...
something nicer.
Something a little bit more family-friendly, ones that so that family can share it with their children.
Yes, it's sort of like Halloween, but light and a bit of a comedy thrown in there, and probably bordering on, would you say, fantasy? Or
Yes.
Yeah.
So this one's called When Good Ghouls Go Bad,
That's
which
Ghouls,
was released in 2001.
It's based on an R.L. Stein book.
Well,
So-
not book. He just said he created something like it, but I don't know if it's a book.
Oh, no, it's based on a concept by R.L. Stein.
I think
Sorry, my mistake.
Yeah, he may have developed a synopsis and presented to the studios, and they gave the nod to let's make this into a script.
Yeah, R.L. Stein did the concept, not the book. There you go, then. Okay, there we go. Let's do the usual crap. I mean, all the good, interesting stuff. Ha ha ha. Now, produced by Stuff Savano. It was made by Fox Family TV, so probably they're the producers. Directed by Patrick Reed Johnson.
Yeah, he was the guy I told you guys about when we did that non-fictional story about a filmmaker who started out in his hometown and then has gone out and made his own film career. He got inspired by the Star Wars and sci-fi movies.
Anyway, irrespective, moving right along. Created by R.L. Stein. Screenplay was by Patrick Reed Johnson, who's obviously the director, and John Lau, L-A-U. Excuse me. Producer. Stephen McLaughlin. There you go. Excuse me, I got a cough. Got something, a tickle in my throat. I've been doing some work in my office here. Bit of dust hanging around. Okay, yeah, it's a groovy little piece. It's made for TV, so don't have any budget or cinema takings and stuff. I'll just go straight into the players, if you will. Now, here we go. Joe Pitchler plays Danny Walker. What a nice little boy he is.
Yes.
Tom Amandes plays James Walker. That's Daddy, I think. Yeah. Christopher Lloyd as Uncle Fred Walker, who's actually his grandfather. Everyone calls him Uncle Fred.
Yeah, it's a bit of a nickname.
Because he loves kids and everything, so everyone calls him Uncle Fred. Joe Clements plays Coach Mike Hankel. He's not probably a very fine man, but in this role, he's a real turd.
Yes.
Imelda, he plays very well. Imelda Cochran plays Nurse Taylor Morgan. Okay, very nice.
She's pretty.
Craig Marriott plays Ryan Cankle. That must be a little boy. Or which one's which?
Well, I don't know which one's which. I know that.
The coach is Mike Cankle is the dad, and Ryan's the son.
Yeah, I know that there was two boys that bullied Danny in the movie.
But Ryan was the main goose, nasty little fellow.
Go on.
Daniel Carr plays Leo. Well, there you go. I won't go through all the other ones. Oh, yeah, I'll do one. Brittany Burns plays Danya Stenson. And Brendan McCarthy plays Curtis Danko. I won't worry about the rest of them.
Yeah, because most of it's
just bits and pieces and stuff. And the last one is Matthew Fitzpatrick as unknown red-haired friend in car. Yeah, so you don't really need those ones. But anyway.
I should mention, guys, before we begin, this was filmed in actually Australia, in New South Wales, as it turns out.
I heard that they did do that sometimes through Fox Studios.
Yeah. I mean, it has handy, especially in some places around New South Wales. I mean, previously we tried.
The Matrix was filmed.
We kind of were traveling down there for a bit, and we saw a few trees of different colours, and most of the time they didn't look like they would have been. Most of the trees we have here in Queensland, they look very ordinary and bland. But
ordinary and bland.
But in different parts of as we were travelling, touring down in New South Wales, we saw different types of coloured trees down there, like reds and oranges,
it was
pinks,
autumn,
yellows, and
the leaves
they were beautiful.
All the leaves are brown and the sky.
And I could see such small towns could be really good for small towns in America, if you're doing a bit of filming there. Anyway, so I'll get into the story now.
Once upon a time, yes, it was in Australia. Me might as well go for it.
So the story begins where it's actually Christopher Lloyd, his uncle Fred, who's telling this tale, narrating it as we go along. So he tells about Danny, his grandson, who's having the hardest time in school, and he's putting up his Halloween decorations, but then a sheriff comes along, takes them down, and damages a few on the way when he was removing them. And of course he's confused about this because he's new to the town, he's new to the city.
Danny Walker and his dad James, who was recently divorced, had just moved to the town of Walker Falls. That's where he came from originally, and he went away to New York. Or Chicago to do work. He's come back there because obviously he wants to get his life back together again.
Yeah, James Walker, he's now trying to get the chocolate factory his dad ran for years up and running
Uncle
again.
Fred.
Because years ago there was a tragedy that occurred where it dealt with a boy named Curtis who was considered a weirdo and stuff like that, and a bit of an outcast. And one Halloween,
near Halloween,
he and his class were told to develop a statue to display in the town, town square that will be presented there, or a hero of sorts.
Yeah, do a statue of your hero.
Of course, he keeps it secret,
no one knew who
everyone
it was,
thinks he's strange and think he's a creep, and they probably think his statue might display a dark side to his personality or something like that.
Darth Vader?
Anyway, he seems very talented, going by the fact he even developed a painting of Planet of the Apes from the old
He did,
Planet of the Apes.
It wasn't bad.
It was pretty good, an awesome painting, and yet they continue making out that he does things strange and unusual and dresses like Tim Burton. Anyway, they say this is 20-odd years ago, but it looks a lot... Well, it doesn't look like 20-odd years ago, because considering the times, unless the children had children at, say, 15, which does not make sense. Anyway, so the story goes is that late one night on Halloween, Curtis is working on his statue, and a bunch of kids from his class, break into his classroom, see him inside the kiln, and they taunt him and lock him in. And then when the janitor was coming by, the kids ducked out, and
the janitor accidentally set the kiln on by banging it with his broom handle, and whoops, the flames consumed the young man.
Yeah, young kid. And the next morning, one of the kids enters there. His name was Mike Kinkle, what his name is? Cankle. And he's...
No.
And he claims he saw a message.
Ryan is the son. Oh, no, that's right. No, yes, Michael when he's young. Yeah, sorry, yeah.
This is back 20-odd years ago.
My mistake. Carry on. My mistake.
So Mike sees the dead remains of Curtis, and
he sees the statue.
No, he doesn't. Yeah, he sees the statue,
sees it.
But he also sees a message written from Curtis saying, "If anyone does a Halloween again, the town will be cursed." Blah blah blah. So he throws the sheet over the statue and yells that it hurt his eyes, all that stuff. And then years later, 20-odd years later, everyone in the town refuses to even say the word or even celebrate Halloween.
Yeah, they banned Halloween from that day onwards. So 20 years later, and 20 years without Halloween.
Yeah.
Very sad.
And Curtis's body and his statue are in a
family crypt, I think.
Family crypt of sorts, or at least a crypt they made, obviously, where it's chained up for all times, so the paranoia convinces. Anyway, Danny, being a new boy in school, he's treated as an outcast by...
He gets picked on. You know the story of it.
And Mike's son treats him very nicely telling him about the story and
he's a
calling
bigger
him out
knucklehead
to
than
being
his father is.
calling him out that he's a weirdo and stuff, and even demands that Danny should go inside the crypt to check out the statue.
Have a look while it's
have a look, and tell them what it is. Of course, Danny quickly makes his escape through the bars because even though he's lousy at football,
he's very skinny.
He's skinny enough to fit through the bars.
And they couldn't follow him. See, it's good to be the 20-pound weakling, isn't it?
Anyway, they think that they plan on taking the statue in hopes of, making a profit from it. And here's the clincher. How much would you pay for a statue if they don't reveal it to you?
Yeah, they pay. I know, it's money.
Yes. That's an interesting twist.
What a smart little boy.
Then we meet
Perhaps become politician.
Then we meet Uncle Frank, who's a nice man, who is a bit of a caregiver. He's always about the creative sides of life and all that stuff. And he's worried about his son for being consumed by work instead of his own son, even though vice versa for him when he was so busy with other things, not his own son's needs. But of course he seems to never forget his son's dreams of looking at one of the astronauts launches, stuff like that. He's still interested in that.
So am I, bet.
So days before Halloween decorations somehow sprouted overnight inside, all over the place.
And they think the walkers had something to do with it.
And Mr. James Walker, told the town they should restart the holiday again and think there's enough. They should not just step on eggshells every time they think, curse is going to curse us. Woo!
Who believes in curses? Come
Stuff like
on.
that.
Yeah.
But the town is so superstitious that this happened that they don't seem to say the word Halloween. It's like a swear word.
You don't say, he who must not be named. Voldemort. No.
Yes, it's just like they said, walking on eggshells. They think that if they so much say the word, they'll be struck down by thunder or lightning.
Or take revenge on the town as a whole. Or something
anyway, so the town is decorated and they think it's the walker's hands in it, even though that's impossible.
You could have done the whole town by yourself in one night.
Yes. Anyway, soon after, in the middle of I think in town square, there's this huge pyramid of pumpkins as far as I can see. Huge, tall, and even the townspeople are thinking this is all a curse or that the walkers had a hand in it, which does not make sense because how can they afford so many pumpkins when the whole town is not even, they don't have enough money to pay for that many pumpkins. You need a truck, you need a big farm to supply that many pumpkins.
And also a lot of hours put together by yourself.
Anyway, dear old Uncle Fred steps forward, tries to grab a pumpkin, which a lot of people tell you
never take the stuff from the bottom of the pile,
which he does. And then this is where
he says, "Happy Halloween," and then
crumble. The pumpkins, crash down, roll around like a scene from Attack of the Killer Tomatoes. Or not really, actually.
Not as bad as that, but yeah.
But then it crushes dear old Uncle Fred.
He goes to meet his maker.
Yeah, the townspeople are grieved, but they still think that the walkers are to blame for this horrible curse that's upon them, and start taking down the decorations and calling them out as Uncle Fred as a bit of a wanko. But eventually,
not a wanko.
Wanko. Anyway, Danny's upset that the only person in his life is gone, and then he's approached by his crush, this cheerleader girl whom he's had a feeling for, but he's too scared to even come close to actually asking out or even trying to talk to her. So she takes him to a house which belonged to the Curse family, that's now abandoned, obviously. And she tells about how she's going to her and a bunch of friends who don't believe in the curse want to do a bit of a private trick-or-treat thing at the house.
They want to have a Halloween, and they saved up all the lollies that they were given over the year, and they pool it so they can eat them all in one night. Yeah, yes. Lovely.
Of course,
That was 6 in the morning.
then the bullies appear and they tell him that they have a big plan in one of the rooms. They plan on using at the top room to put the statue there, so they can taunt kids to go check it out and stuff, and get paid a lot of money for it.
Or look at it or
And
not look at it.
of course, the two, Danny and his crush, they protest, and they said that their father, the bully's father, is a principal and might become the mayor because there's elections happening, and he hopes to become the new mayor of the Walker Falls.
Yeah.
And he thinks that he'll have more power over the town and stuff like that. And his mother is also the cheerleader captain, whatever, and stuff. And this would mean getting Danny's crush off the team, of the cheerleader team. Of course, Danny says he chickens out and says that he won't object to them using that room, and she sees him as a bit of a coward, sadly enough. Danny,
well, he wouldn't be boy.
Danny heads home, and he then
yeah.
sees that his uncle Fred is alive and kicking, and a little.
Well, he came home and he said, "What's happening?" And the thing being said, "No, Uncle Fred's sitting there."
Yes.
Grandpa Fred. Whatever.
He then tells him that someone had opened the coffin
and let him out.
And let him out.
And he wasn't actually dead. He said I was in a coma or something rather than they thought I was dead. But guess what?
Yeah.
He's dead.
Anyway, he then gives Mike Kingle the fright of his life, including his sons, that before they were starting to take down their decorations, and he scares them, and he loses his hand in the attempt because he ends up chopping it off, and soon enough
in a car window, wasn't it?
And soon enough, his hand is walking around
just like the thing, like thing out of the Addams family. Yeah.
Anyway, the boys and their father don't believe it, and they think that Uncle Fred faked his death to scare them, to try to bring back Halloween and make. Oh, I should mention that the chocolate factory. Danny's dad is trying to get investors from Germany.
He wants to reopen the chocolate
factory
because he can see that it's a good business idea and can make lots of money for not just him but for the town.
Yeah.
What a good hero type guy he is.
Yeah, because he also wants to make a special Halloween fest, like what we do nowadays, Halloween festivals.
I like October Festival, the beer and stuff. Sorry.
Anyway, that's his plan. And Kingle thinks to himself that they're just trying to make out where we should be scared and we should bring back the holiday, blah, blah, blah. And he thinks that Curse has come back to life because he notices the crypt open, obviously. And he thinks that this is all a scam by the walkers, and thinks he's just trying to make out that the walkers are to blame, and thinks that he continues to cover the whole thing up as all part of Walker's plan, and trying to make out that he just makes up a lot of lame excuses, including the part where he mentions about how Walkers are trying to bring back the factory, even though this would mean the increase of jobs.
Yeah.
You would think that would be a good thing.
He was against it. His argument was really lame.
Yeah, considering that...
And people saying, and this is a bad thing?
Exactly. Even his wife said, you think this is a bad thing?
To bring
back work a little bit?
And make some money for our town and stuff. And,
yada, yada, yada.
Yeah, but Halloween.
Yes.
Dickhead.
What a thickhead. It would mean adding a little bit of extra... little expenses, a little bit more money to the dentist, but aside from that, chocolate.
The dentist will make more money.
Yes.
There you go.
See, it's an economy. Works really well. Anyway, chocolate is a bit of a benefiting thing.
I like chocolate.
Anyway, so
white chocolate, milk chocolate, dark chocolate.
Danny tells
cherry ripe.
We get on to the subject.
Chocolate
Soon enough, Uncle Fred tries to find his hand, and of course his hand is going on a little wild adventure, including with some fireflies.
It's the fireflies that have some mystical power or something, right?
I think the fireflies are the spirit of Curtis, because he kind of...
Yeah, possibly, yeah.
He used fireflies when he was making the sculpture in his private time back in the 20 years ago. It needs some lights, yeah. So they kind of become his eyes in this scene, where I think the fireflies are the spirit of Curtis, conveying his the hand as to become his best to assist him, obviously, in his endeavor. Anyway, soon enough, Danny tries to convince his girlfriend, or his crush, to believe him. Of course, she doesn't believe him, thinking that when they were doing a special, politician event where it looks like it was more of an auction event.
They're trying to do a fundraiser.
Yeah, with little or no success, because to be honest, who would want a picture?
Someone said, we haven't got any money.
Yeah, so and you wonder why they don't think the chocolate factory is a big money maker boost.
Work for people.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Anyway, eventually, he appears as Uncle Fred appears as a clown, and he tries to cheer some children up, and of course he uses the hand, and he caused a bit of little problems, including cutting off his other hand and his legs, and he ends up getting carried inside a piece of a large box.
Yeah, a bit like a flight case that you use when you're a musician. Yeah, you're like a mix-up, or a big keyboard. Yeah.
They take him back to the house where they sew and use a drill to get Uncle Fred's limbs back together.
Yeah, put him back together. Who said you can't put Humpty Dumpty back together? No.
While this is happening, more undead ghouls are starting to emerge from the grave, it seems, and they're not there for brains. They're there for the statue, wherever it may be. Anyway, so they go to the graveyard. They see the ghouls. They actually are not going. They're kind of. It's like a scene from Michael Jackson's Thriller, isn't that right?
Yeah, pretty much. Well,
yes.
The other one, that other music one he did, Ghost or
Ghost.
The House Talk.
Exactly. That type of makeup.
Yeah. They look really good.
Well, it was back in 2001, so technically the makeup would still be prosthetics and really
it looked pretty good.
detailed.
Yeah.
Anyway, you see amongst the undead is Danny's grandmother.
She's pretty for that lady.
And she's calling up she's kind of assisting the other bodies to rise up. And they have plans for Danny and his father and her husband, Uncle Fred. And of course, the kids run out there screaming, bloody murder, or not really bloody murder, because he's always screaming in this. It's annoying.
Yeah.
Anyway, so they eventually meet up with his parents and tell them about how Uncle Fred arose from the grave, and of course his father doesn't believe him. And then when he sees his father rising, he and his girlfriend, they faint. And soon enough, the other ghouls arrived at the house, starting to rat-tat-tat on their
chamber door.
And Uncle Fred stalls the undead, while Danny and his love crush, they head to the Halloween party that's taking place at at Curtis's house, obviously. Of course, once the dead come and see Uncle Fred, they said they're not there to suck the brains out of them. They're here for a particular purpose.
Yes.
Anyway, meanwhile,
Uncle Fred watched too much TV.
Meanwhile, while all this is happening, the townspeople, they see the dead bodies and start piling into the city hall, trying their might to keep the door closed as best they could. Then Coach Mike Kindle, he kind of runs out, and while leaving the remaining townspeople to fend for themselves. Meanwhile, James Walker's secretary is gathering the Germans at the airport and taking them to the town.
Yes,
but
she's unaware of all this.
And while this is happening, the Germans get afraid of their life of the ghouls, and they say, "Trick or treat, smell my feet, give us something good to eat." Yeah. The old traditional lyric you say when you get trick or treats, obviously.
Yeah, and they thought it was part of a show.
Of course. Oh, yeah. They were scared a bit, but aside from that, it was pretty impressive. But they continue trying to drive away from them, obviously. While this is happening, Danny and his love interest eventually arrive at the party, but it's already too late. The ghouls are coming through the door, and including none other than Curtis, who came in a Planet of the Apes mask, obviously.
He did. Well, He likes Planet of the Apes.
Yeah,
who doesn't? Yeah.
I think
I like
there
the
was.
first one. Charlton Heston. Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised Patrick Johnson was probably a fan of it, considering he made his own fan-made version of Planet of the Apes when he was a kid.
He did. That's probably why he did it.
Maybe that's where he got his interest in Planet of the Apes, and this is why he put it in the story. Anyway, so back to the story. The kids tried to run from these zombies, but they soon are outmatched, and soon enough they're cornered and they're with their parents, and the statue's there obviously, and Curtis is going to unveil it in front of everyone.
Everyone's worried. Oh, it's going to burn our eyes and we're going to get blind. And
yeah, all of them. Yeah, and this is the part where when he's about to unveil James and Uncle Fred and Danny all admit that they were being really foolish and stupid for allowing Halloween to come back, thanks to the curse. But just then, Coach Mike comes into the door and crushes the Curtis's bones into powder.
This is quite funny. As he jumps on him, he gets up in his football. Yeah. Football uniform, and
he looks ridiculous.
His helmet and everything else. He's padding to protect himself, and it doesn't work. He kills he destroys Curtis,
and he mocks it and says that who you gonna call?
And all of a sudden, Curtis's body comes back together again.
Can you kill a skeleton?
Nah.
I don't know. I've never seen the skeleton come to life, so I can't really tell.
Well, it comes back reanimated.
Anyway.
Reanimated, that's a good name for a movie, isn't it?
Anyway, he freaks out, and soon enough he joins his family.
He tries to run away again.
And then Curtis unveils the statue, and everyone turns away. Like it was.
They think it was scary and horrible demon or something or other.
Yeah, but slowly everyone turns their eyes and
looks
see.
at it.
Oh my gosh!
It's Uncle Fred.
Yes, it's Uncle Fred.
Holding a jack-o'-lantern.
Yeah, and everyone is amazed.
Yeah, going back to the beginning of the movie, it said that the kids had to make a statue of someone they regard as a hero to them.
Yes, Uncle Fred is a little both amazed and surprised, and he asks Curtis, why you consider me a hero when I was the one who built the kiln and donated to the school? It's my fault.
Yeah, but he had a picture that Uncle Fred had.
Yeah.
Newspaper clipping where Uncle Fred is giving him an award for his artistic talents, and he looked up to Uncle Fred because he's such a nice guy and a philanthropist and loved children and stuff.
Yeah, and he then goes on to Curtis doesn't speak. He actually.
Well, he can't. He's dead.
Yeah, and he points at Mike, the
Mike
coach, because he was the one responsible for the whole incident.
Yes,
and
the lies we've signed out.
Now we get the full truth from the Kingle, where 20 years ago, when Kingle and his friends went to the school, taunted dear old Curtis and locked him in, and he got burnt to death. And then the next morning, he saw the body, and then he saw the statue and realized that his dreams of his father being in the
having his statue put in
would not be on display. So he wrote the curse in the ashes.
It wasn't Curtis who wrote it with his dying hand or dead hand.
Yes, and he covered the statue and screamed that
my eyes are burning. It's bad.
Yeah.
So
all this time he lied, and that a whole town has been believing his lie over the fact that took away a very wonderful holiday.
20 years of Halloween.
For 20
very
years.
Nice man, no.
And of course, James asked him, why? You took away such a wonderful holiday and you did this. Why? And he says that because James Walker's dad would be on display for all the town to be seen. Not his daddy. Not his daddy, who was... he was all about manly stuff and blah blah blah, and football, blah blah blah, and he was all.
Uncle Fred was into the arts and different things,
is into art and crafts and drama and music and
and Mike was it's girly stuff, not manly enough.
He also goes on about how his dad wanted to put together a football theme park.
And they wanted Uncle Fred to be a sponsor or something.
But he refused. And, of course, he goes on a bit, and eventually his ghostly father appears and tells him, "I'm going to give you a whooping you'll never forget."
Yeah, even as a dead dad, he wasn't very happy
He
with his son.
doesn't seem too happy about the fact his son was being too envious about
a knucklehead,
knucklehead.
where his dead dad was a really nice ghoul, wasn't he?
Yeah, well, anyway, he drags him away, and
I'm going to
Curtis...
give you a whooping you'll have to remember the rest of your life. That's a scary one, eh?
Oh, yes. Curtis gives a round of applause, and everyone walks out. And, of course, while this is happening, Curtis gets told Happy Halloween, and he goes back to the graveyard. Meanwhile, Uncle Fred, he is approached by his wife,
He's
dead wife,
deceased wife.
and
She's a pretty little
they
thing.
have a moment, and he's happy to see her, and she remarks how tired he looks, and he looks like he's ready for a long rest. So he then approaches James and tells him that he is very proud of him and he knew he was loved. And of course James remarks, of course, by all the children of the town, but he referring to the love that his son had for him.
Yes, you see, nice.
He then remarks that
warm and fluffy stuff there.
he'll always look down upon him and say how proud he was. And then as he says, for his last moments of being on this earth, he wants to take his wife for a quick dance.
And the other ghouls did it too, and they started dancing in the moonlight.
It was beautiful. It was so a magical moment where all the ghouls were dancing in the town square, and all the time the fireflies are buzzing around. It was such a magical moment.
It was. It's so pretty, and and then they start going to dust and stuff and things and disappearing
while this
and
is
stuff.
happening, Danny shares a kiss with his love interest while James is talking to her mother and remarking about how they hope to have a good relationship. But
I think he's heading for more than a kiss.
And I think that they said, or she said, that they would have to keep those kids afar, both his son and her daughter, away for a couple more, years before they ever tie the knot. So I think that's hinting that maybe it might be a while before they get to have a relationship.
Well, they're only about 12 or 13 or something.
Yeah. Anyway, so the next
getting ready for marriage.
Yeah, as the ghouls dance off into the night and
disappear gradually.
And soon enough, dawn approaches and soon enough, it's morning and
the German investors appeared.
Yeah, along with his James's secretary, and they talk about how they were excited about this Halloween
and
fest
because they were accosted by some person in a costume, which wasn't a costume person. No.
And they suggest that they look forward to doing this again for next
bigger
year.
and better.
Yeah, and of course they want to discuss it more with James Walker
and
next
double
time.
the investment amount he's going to put in.
Yeah, and they said they'll talk about it probably
Jane said,
tomorrow morning, but they decided to make it 2 weeks from now.
Well, Jane said, no, make it 2 weeks, because he wanted to have a bit of time for his son and his potential lady love.
Yes. So, anyway.
And he said, what am I going to do? And then the secretary and then look at each other and he gets a big smile on his face going, well, I can find somebody doing a country town.
Yes,
you
I'm sure
bugger,
they do. Anyways, we fade out. We watch a bunch of little trick-or-treaters running past the statue of Uncle Fred
in the village square.
And one of the little kids, tells him "Happy Halloween," and then we hear from the statue or from the narrator, "Happy Halloween." Then we fade out.
I say it's a nice, friendly family Halloween.
It is a nice
one. So the kiddies can watch it.
It is a nice, friendly one with a lot of adventure and a lot of fantasy.
A bit of fantasy thrown in. So you want something for the kids too. So that's why we thought we'd put this one in. Yeah. And R.L. Stine does write good stories. Yeah,
I got to admit though, I'm with some people when Kangol was questioning the whole bringing back the chocolate factory when
What was Willy Wonka going to do about this?
But you know what I mean, Mike? The fact that would have boosted businesses and chocolate sales.
That would be the next level. I mean, if they said, yes, everything 2 weeks' time, they start getting the chocolate factory up, for the next 12 months, people would be employed, there'd be more money, more chocolate for
and more
Halloween.
businesses. Yeah, and more work.
And more business opportunities, though, and more money for the community, which is little country towns can die off with no work.
Yeah, that's
Especially
true.
the abattoir.
Too bad that
towns,
Coach Kingle guy. He didn't put that. Kingle didn't think of that when you think about it.
Yeah, good.
He was kind of a big, selfish nickelhead.
Nickelhead? No,
and if he was running for president or mayor, I would not vote for him.
I wouldn't.
He's more intimidating than brain smart. And if
I wouldn't put him in charge of a chicken raffle at the hotel. You know.
Yeah, I would have made James Walker as the
Tell you
town
what,
mayor.
there's a good chance he could be a good mayor after he gets the business up and running. Everyone go and say, "Hey, you saved our town," and he could run for mayor later on if there was a sequel.
It does explain why the name is called Walker Falls.
Because his family probably settled in the area and made it what it was.
Yeah.
His great grandparents, something rather.
Yeah, it might be, considering it makes a little sense why you call a town, especially if the name character is named Walker.
Yeah.
It makes a little sense when you think about it.
Wee.
Anyway, I do think it's a good one. It's nice, cheerful, and has a good story plot.
The reason why I got confused earlier on,
Okay.
R.L. Stein came up with the concept.
Okay.
Wait a minute. And then the screenplay was written by Johnson and John Lau. Then Stein wrote the full novelisation of the film as a tie-in, so the book has been written. See, I didn't think I was totally... But the book was written after the movie.
Well, I've been trying to find the book, but I can't seem to find it. Every time I look for it, I keep coming across the DVD or the video.
Yeah, but whatever.
So I can't really
Can't go.
find it.
Oh, it may be around, but not where we're looking.
It may have not been just as sharp edge as the movie.
No, it might be there, but it was actually called the same thing, or they changed the name a little bit.
Maybe. Knowing dear old RL, he has a unique way of writing stories, and sometimes those stories may be changed because of the studio heads may want to have a different name for it to bring in audiences.
Yeah.
Even though I don't know, considering this went directly to TV. It will be hard to see if anyone would catch on. I did see it on TV when I was years ago, obviously a lot younger when I was young, and I thought it was pretty an okay movie, especially with Christopher Lloyd playing such a funny comedy character.
I have always liked Christopher Lloyd in these character roles. I remember saw him in Who Framed Roger Rabbit years ago. I thought he's not bad, and I saw him in Back to the Future, and saw him in Addams Family. He just pops up in all these really weird roles.
And I think he was in that new version of Piranha. You know what I mean?
Well,
he played a scientist. Yeah. And there was a talk about a spin-off series that sort of is like from Back to the Future, but called Rick and something, whatever. It's not. I mean, I heard about it, but I'm not sure if I'm gonna give it 5 stars.
Whatever.
Anyway,
I can't say too much about it. So it was made in Australia, like we said, and they did Americanise it. They had people driving on the American, left the right, the right hand side, right, not left hand side, and everything. So they made it look like it was in America.
Yeah, well,
they did that in The Matrix too.
Yeah.
I find it very annoying sometimes, but they're trying to say American company is trying to make it look like it's America.
Yeah.
So okay, fair
well,
enough.
that's when we were doing that road trip. We were road tripping down to New South Wales, and there were some streets there that looked like you would expect to see in American country towns in those movies and TV shows.
Yes, so it looks good. We still have some good areas. Anyway, forget that stuff now. Anyway, irrespective, this is a family movie, and it's been done quite well.
I thought so too.
I'm not into watching kids shows necessarily as much. I do watch teenager shows occasionally, like Buffy the Vampire Slayer. So this is a little bit different.
Yeah, and I feel the same way. This is not exactly the Corpse Bride or Nightmare on
it's a ghoulish.
For Christmas.
This here is a good family watch. Filming's good, storylines are good, storyline's good, the acting's good. Christopher Lloyd brings it to life or to death. And yeah, it's really, really a great, friendly film to watch as a family unit if you got young kids. There you go. That's the best way to put it, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to give it about a 9.
Okay, I'm going to give it 9.5 out of 10
Ooh,
myself. I mean, I like the fact that Christopher Lloyd was in this. He plays the interesting roles, and I heard on the grapevine that he may be appearing in the next Wednesday TV series in season 2, I think. I mean, I think they're going to bring more and more of the actors that did the Addams Family back in the 90s and try to put them into these types of roles.
Cameos and everything.
Cameos and stuff like that. Of course, no promises because
Well, they can't put everybody in it.
there is going to... I already seen some behind the scenes which indicate it's already on the roll, and it may be coming out next year. And I'm not sure if we're going to be doing a podcast by then because I'm thinking of maybe looking at discontinuing it. I haven't decided.
We haven't decided yet.
I mean,
we've been doing it for a few years now, and
it's been too many
It depends
years,
what you
and-
guys say. If you guys say yes, please keep it going, we'll consider it, hasn't it?
Yeah, it's just that it's taking me away from my other potential career option,
Filmmaking,
being a
yeah,
filmmaker, and
yeah.
it's a little hard to balance the both hats.
Yeah, we're both at it.
I mean,
Anyway.
I like talking about movies and
So do
with
I.
you guys, and I like sharing my opinions about these movies. But I can't do it forever, and I rather.
But we'll keep it going for the time being anyway.
I will continue till I make up my mind till December rolls around, which is
Maybe.
not too far away. So
Well, yeah, downhill run now. Anyway, where do you get it? Well, here you go. eBay, it is there. There's new and used. There's more used than there's new. Amazon is for sale. I couldn't find it for rental anywhere. However, it is on YouTube.
yes,
Be careful if you go shopping for it because being older, there is VHS copies still out there. You may find it on other streaming services, different platforms and stuff. So go looking. So it's called When Good Ghouls, Ghouls, Go Bad. 2001 Fox film. So yeah, does Fox have a streaming site?
I wouldn't say because
Dunno.
considering the fact I never go on Fox service, so I
don't go on
can't
streaming
really
sites. Yeah, service.
give you an estimate on what they're up to now. I
Yep.
mean, there's been so many other streaming places like Shudder, Netflix, and Disney Plus.
Yeah, you got all stuff here,
and
but you
there's
can't go on
Sony,
all of them.
and
So.
there is so many out there at the moment. So it's hard to actually pinpoint what's happening with Fox at the moment.
Yeah. So anyway, irrespective, it's a good watch. If you want to have a look at it, it's good. It's family friendly, so if you've got younger kids, you're not going to get nightmares out of it. But yeah, it's fun. Yeah. So yeah, I would recommend it. Yeah. There you go.
Yes.
So we graded it. Where do you get it? It's been done. I can't think of anything else to say. If you want to say goodbye now or what?
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
So, thanks for listening to our latest podcast, everyone. And you know where to find it, obviously. So, you know our thoughts. Now, it's up to you guys to actually watch the thing. I have found a copy on YouTube. So, I'll put a link at the bottom so you can actually watch
idea,
it.
yeah.
So, be sure to check it out. Let us know in the comments what you guys think of that movie, okay? So, thanks for listening to our podcast, everyone, and we'll talk to you guys very, very soon. All right, that's about it from us, guys. This is Sarah Stephenson
And Michael.
saying see you guys around on Boys and Ghouls Film Review. Bye for now and have a good week.
Hi, guys.